YouTube. Sorry about that. All right, YouTube's back. My apologies, Facebook. YouTube was not cooperating this morning. I'll have to let Trivia Carter know about that. All right, we'll say some good mornings here. The Saints lose in disgustingly improbable fashion. They led 16-3 with 3 minutes to go in the ball game. 3 minutes to go in the ball game, and couldn't finish it. A disgusting display. A disgusting display by the New Orleans Saints. And that's what bad teams do. Bad teams find a way to lose games, and the Saints are a bad football team with a head coach that doesn't know how to finish. There are, the margin in the NFL is so small that that typically the outcome of a game is decided on a few decisions or moments throughout the course of a game. And Dennis Allen continues to show over and over again he is not capable of leading this team through those. By score and situation, the only win in Tom Brady's career that was more improbable than last night was the 28-3 comeback in the Super Bowl. Trailed by 13 with 3 minutes to go. And of course, a deep PI, they score, they get the stop on just an atrocious offensive series for the Saints, where they run the ball, Bucs call timeout. They decide they're going to stack the line with all these extra linemen and throw the ball, and they give up a sack. And then on third down, decide they're going to throw it deep middle, and Taysom Hill gets popped, can't hold on. So you basically run 30 seconds off the clock and give Tom Brady half a field in 2 minutes with 2 timeouts and the 2 minute warning. How do you think that's going to go? So terrible job all the way around. Just absolutely horrendous. And that does, for all intents and purposes, end the Saints season now, because you would essentially have to win out now and have some help with the Bucs to get into the playoffs. But you're 3 games behind in the loss column, and the Bucs won the season series, so you're really 4 games behind. So you'd have to have the Bucs lose out and you win out in order to get into the postseason, and at 8-9, and that's not happening. So all the talk about, well, could they, if this happens, and it's done now, so officially done. I mean, it's been done for a long time, but they need to fire Dennis Allen. You want to wait till the end of the season, fine, but he can't come back next year. There's plenty of blame to go around. Andy Dalton lobbed a pretty nice ball to Jarvis, who had an opportunity for a touchdown catch. It would have been difficult, but we've seen Jarvis, one-handed, kind of soft hand, tip the ball back to himself, couldn't reel it in. Mentioned the Taysom play over the middle, maybe none more egregious than Mark Ingram running out of bounds a yard short of the first down, with just giving himself up. And he stayed down out of bounds because he was injured, but you're injured, man, you need a foot, get the first down. Then on 3rd and 1, the Saints threw it and didn't convert. Ended up punting, where they essentially could have run out the clock in that moment with 6 minutes to go, or certainly made it impossible for Brady and the Bucs to get enough possessions left. But Mark Ingram's never been a player who makes winning plays as long as he's been with this organization. I'm not calling him a loser. I think Mark Ingram is generally a good person, but he is a losing player. The Saints have never gotten the ROI on that draft pick. Remember, they traded back into round 1, so you gave up your future 1 and a 2 to get Mark Ingram. And he's a guy who you didn't even pick up his 5th-year option on a rookie contract. He's been a losing player his entire career. So just a massively disappointing day. And maybe the one silver lining is you're one step closer to firing Dennis Allen, and getting on with whatever the future of this organization will look like. Hopefully it's winning ways again, but it won't be with Dennis Allen. Lieutenant, not a general. Quentin Brakebill, good morning. Brant Roban, shocked and excited. You think Boutte coming back to beef up that NFL stock because he didn't have many wide receiver catches? I think it's a lot of things. I think he wants to win a natty. I think it matters to him. Yeah, so that's the other bit of news here. Kayshon announced he's returning, which is fantastic news. the other thing that I'll tell you specifically, I did ask around, and there's some people in scouting circles who believe Kayshon had dropped to about a third round pick. And when you come into the year with the ambition of being a first round or maybe the first receiver taken in the draft, and your stock drops in round 3, part of it was the perception about the attitude stuff early in the year. Production dropped off too, so all that sort of stuff. Just questions, things that he could have answered. Go to the combine, answer questions. Same thing with Stingley a year ago, and he went 3rd overall. So, but Kayshon wanted to come back and win, so good for him, man. Patrick Ramos, Trivia Carter, Jason H, good morning. Weston Weaver, good morning. At least the highlight of our day yesterday was Kayshon. Do you think it has an effect on Daniel staying? There are some people who believe the opposite, that Kayshon staying means that Daniels is leaving and Nuss is playing. I'm going to tell y'all, some of the conversations I had were that last week Nussmeier it seemed pretty clear that Nussmeier a week ago was maybe leaning toward leaving, going into the portal. I don't know if Saturday changed anything. Again, I'm just telling you flatly, I don't know. The feeling a week ago was that he was going to leave. And I don't know if Saturday changed anything for him or for Jaden. So we'll wait and see and get those announcements. But typically LSU does like to do this where they give each guy their day, right? So they don't want all these announcements stacked on top of each other. So Kayshon yesterday, my guess is, again, I don't know, but maybe you get B.J. Ojolari's decision today, whatever it is. But they kind of give those guys their day. Reed Rule, my short list of coaching candidates when Dennis Allen's gone: Ken Dorsey, D'Amico Ryans, no more retreads. Yeah, man, I'm with you on the no retreads. Dorsey's an interesting one. Who was also in San Fran. D'Amico Ryans, do you want to go defense or do you want to go offense? Usually whenever, whenever you make a change like this, you go the opposite. So, you have the defensive-minded guy now. It would make more sense to go to the offensive-minded guy. I know I've said for a while I would love to see Bieniemy get a shot. But I think that's the only thing that makes this interesting at this point is when they fire Dennis Allen, who's going to be next. Wendell Norman, Tim Gotro, no Saint, fire DA, not calling timeouts when the Bucs are inside your 10, fire DA. Yeah, I mean, look, there's two ways to look at that. You could say, we'll get a stop and the game's over. But if Tom Brady scores, you want to have time for your offense. And they didn't. So, again, the tough decisions that head coaches have to make, and Dennis Allen continues to choose wrong over and over again. Lewis Mathern, I've trusted Mickey Loomis since he got the job in 2004. But if he doubles down on DA, I'm done. Atrocious. Allen's ineptitude was on full display last night. And look, man, Mickey Loomis isn't exempt. I don't think Gail Benson's firing Mickey Loomis. But I think what's evident here and what we're seeing illustrated pretty clearly is, how much of an influence Sean Payton had. I know we've talked about it a bit, but y'all, you do realize, again, I'm going to say this again, last year the New Orleans Saints had more different starting players than any team in NFL history because of their injuries. And they won 9 games. You had Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian, Ian Book, all-star games at quarterback a year ago. Every one of your offensive line starters, except Cesar Ruiz, missed time last year. You missed Michael Thomas for the entire season. Your first-round draft pick, Peyton Turner, gave you nothing a year ago. And you won 9 games. The whole idea, someone said on Twitter, hey, you got to give Dennis Allen time to get his system in. What are you talking about? The whole reason you hired Dennis Allen was he was already here as the defensive coordinator, and you retained Pete Carmichael, the OC. The whole objective in hiring him was don't upset the apple cart, right? That was the objective, was you've got this winning culture, don't mess with it. and he hasn't been able to sustain it. In less than a full year, it's completely eroded. I mean, do you realize last year on that Monday Night Football game when the Saints played the Dolphins, I watched that game thinking, we're going to win this thing. Watch us go win this thing with Ian Book. Because we got Sean Payton calling plays, and watch us go win this thing. No, they didn't. But I went into the game thinking they could or would. And that wasn't unrealistic because you had Sean Payton, and he had done improbable things already. Anyway. Wacky Chris, morning Matt. The Saints are wasting a pretty good defense. The offense is absolute gutter trash. The defense is finding its stride of late, but there's been times this year the defense has been atrocious. They couldn't get stops against Minnesota and London. They were absolutely dreadful against Baltimore. I mean, look, there have been times the defense has been terrible too. They've shared in their ineptitude this season. Joseph felt well last drive. We take all of our wide receivers out, run play action, and get sacked. What kind of play is that? Thank you. That's the plan. Like, it's who did you think you were kidding? I mean, and if you're Andy Dalton, brother, you got to know get rid of that football. Like, you brought everybody into the box. By your formation, you brought everybody into the box. Edward O got the crabs. Good morning, Matt. The Aints worth talking about. Let's talk about Brian Kelly, LSU, and KB. It's fresh on my mind, man. I got to talk about Kayshon yesterday on air on AFR because the news broke in the 5 o'clock hour. So, but yeah, man, pretty incredible getting Kayshon back. For a guy, when you think about it, who, last year Brian Kelly was asked about him, he basically said, I know his name, and talked a lot about how Kayshon was a player, had a lot of growing to do, and had to buy in, and had to be around the building. And even Kayshon, in his letter announcing his return, said, complimented the staff on how much they've helped him grow as a person. Also, of course, Kayshon became a dad this year. So that's a pretty incredible hat tip, isn't it, to Brian Kelly, to get a guy like Kayshon back when everyone, yours truly included, just assumed that he was going pro. Remedy is Bienemy. Bubba Tatum, I'm glad those tickets were free, but that still sucks. Bubba lives down in Tampa, so was at the game, clearly. Watched the team collapse. It was totally disheartening. At least we got the Kayshon news yesterday, softening the Saints' shortcomings. I'm destroying the like button. Yes, please destroy the like button there on YouTube if you would. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. As always, brought to you by Brock, the Banner's Orthopedic Clinic. You know orthopedics, go to Brock. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com. Dylan Horn, what does it say about players buying into Brian Kelly with Kayshon returning? Yeah, it says exactly what you said. It's players buying in, believing they can win. I mean, they got to witness, a guy like Kayshon got to witness 2 years of dysfunction. And in 1 year, about face, you're in the SEC championship game. And, yeah, pretty phenomenal. Let's see. Oh, y'all seen 0 players enter the portal. The line. Hey, so Chris Anthony, the line. So you're talking about, I believe it was Webb, but Webb had already announced he was entering the portal. So there were no new players from LSU that entered the portal. I think like Antoine Sampa, Philip Webb, like some of those guys who had already left and had announced they were entering the portal just formally went into the portal yesterday, but they had already announced. So there was nobody new who announced yesterday, which is telling. Like it's a 180 from where the program was a year ago, where guys were flooding out of a toxic situation, like what you're seeing at Texas A&M. They've had 12 guys go into the portal. Auburn, same thing. You have toxic situation. Here, it's the opposite. You have a very stable situation where guys don't want to leave. I mean, the guys that leave are going to be guys that are backups that haven't really cracked the rotation, that are going to look for a place to go play, which you don't blame them for that. Brian Wynn, Brandon LeBlanc, 12 men in the huddle at the 2-yard line. I mean, like, I've seen that happen before where you have 12 men in the huddle. It was just at my 12-year-old nephew's game, not in the NFL. John Foray, good morning. Is there a deadline for your staying leaving for LSU? Well, of course, there's a deadline for the NFL draft, and the transfer portal's open. The portal window's open for like 45 days. So, and then you have another window after spring football. Brian, when any starters you anticipate losing the portal? Not really, Brian. The starters that you're going to lose are going to be guys to the draft. Chet Chasson, good morning. Enjoyed chatting at SC Fanfare in Atlanta. Thanks for taking time. Of course, Chet, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming to say hi, man. Wish we'd had a better game, huh? So, Chet, I'm looking Salafush, so you were part of the group of guys who we saw right before we went in. There was a group of y'all. We all took a picture together. I remember. It was great to see you guys, man. Thanks for coming to say hi. Ryan and Amanda Guidry, the move with Ingram never panned out on our end. It's true. It's all about ROI. If Mark Ingram were an undrafted free agent and played this long, you'd be like, man, what a great career. But he was a first-round draft pick who you traded back into round one to get, and he had 2,000-yard seasons with the Saints, and that came, in 2016 and 17. And he was drafted in 11. I mean, he was just a massive disappointment in his rookie contract, so that they didn't even pick up his fifth-year option. Anyway, let's see. Earl, LSU's not going to win a natty with the QB room we have. Facts. Earl, Georgia's quarterback by Stetson Bennett. Todd Harris, good morning. Deborah Coward, good morning. Truax, what's up? Barry LeBeau, good morning. Any leads on DB transfers LSU has a shot at? Hang on one second. Drew's awake. Hang on one second. Drew, you want to come say hi to Dad show?
No.
You want to come say hi to Dad show?
No.
No. He said, I'm going to play. He woke up on his own today. 7:55, okay. Barry Joslin, good morning. Barry asked about names for defensive backs. I mean, I could tell you a couple of guys that they're going to target. Whether or not they land them, we'll see. But Brian Kelly's been pretty adamant. If they have Louisiana ties, that's preferable, not necessary. You could probably look in our conference, see a couple that would make sense. Saints QB room, not that great. Doesn't matter who the coach is. Earl, listen, man, I'm going to try not to be disrespectful, even though I'm on edge this morning because the Saints blew that game. I just spelled out for you a year ago the New Orleans Saints played with Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian, and Ian Book, and they went 9-8. This team, with 4 games to go, has already lost more games than they did a year ago. Don't tell me coach doesn't matter. It's the singular truth that we all understand in football. Bountygate taught us that. Brian Kelly taught us that this year. Look at every example in the history of football where a dysfunctional situation brings in a good coach and turns things around. Look at Sean Payton in 2006. You went from a vagabond Katrina year and 3-13 to the NFC Championship game in 1 year. Why? Coach. Don't tell me coach doesn't matter. Of course it matters. It's the thing that matters most in football. Or 1A, 1B with quarterback. And if you have the right coach, you can overcome not having the quarterback. Dylan Beeson, what's up? Hey, Dad, good morning. Brant Roban, my Tennessee friends are saying Tennessee's going to handle LSU no problem next March in Alec Box. Kyle DeVille, Cody Brunet. Are the Saints the only NFL team too scared to go for it on 4th and 2 on the Tampa 3? No, and kicking the field goal there was the right decision. You made them have to score 2 touchdowns. Stephen Dufour, Mr. Keeper's doing needs to go. In words of Sean Payton, I've seen enough. DA is now 15-46 as a head coach. Kyle DeVille, this reminds me of the Ditka Hazlitt era. That was a Ditka-esque game last night for sure. Jason Austin, what's up? Henry Gordon Bennett, Georgia's Jalen Carter looks like the second coming of Reggie White. Chandler Watts, does Kayshon coming back better our chances of getting Ojulari, Ward, and Garner back? Well, Garner is a super senior, so he can't come back. Ojulari is obviously a junior, as is Jaquelin Roy, and Jay Ward has the COVID year if he wants to use it, but he's been here 4 years. So I think each guy makes their own decision individually. But look, man, I mean, thought for sure Kayshon was going to go, and him coming back is a major hat tip. Dustin Fontenot, Jesse Brown, so much for fans thinking Boutte was not bought in. Honestly, Jesse, like, I don't want to make this a thing where I point the finger at LSU fans who've crapped on that kid all year, but I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to point the finger at the LSU fans that crapped on him all year, so I'm glad you said it. That he's not a team guy, that he's not bought in, all the stuff. You know who you are. A lot of people probably run around deleting tweets today about Kayshon. Raid Rule, on a more positive note, is there a reason why most of our potential transfers didn't enter the portal yesterday? I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't know who the potential transfers are. Like, I don't know who you're talking. Like, I assume that you are going to see players enter the portal. But again, it's going to be more so backup guys that aren't playing that are going to go look for a spot to play. And that's got to happen because, look, natural attrition happens on a roster, right? If you're Brian Kelly and you need to sign, 30, 35 players this year, you're going to have guys that leave due to graduation, leave for the NFL, leave in the portal. I mean, that's just natural attrition that has to happen every year. Trav 504 is scary coaching. They don't take any chances. Scared coaching. Matt, what's the deal with no Brother Martin fight song after a great win? Dan, Dad went to Brother Martin. I'm good with Brother Martin. I'm not sitting there singing the Brother Martin fight song. Kick rocks. Devin Johnson, good morning. PTG Toasty, good morning. Chances Matt House leaves for another job. The only job that he'd leave LSU for is a head coaching job, and I don't think he's going to get one this year. So I think Matt House will be back next year. You think Georgia will be as dominant as Alabama was over the last 10 to 15 years? No, that's an improbable run, man, to go the span that Alabama did, the length. Look at Clemson. Clemson had a really dominant run for a half decade. And even though they're still really good, they're not now what they were, right? So, can they get it back? Maybe. Kate Klubnik could be the answer. We'll see. But it's hard, man. It's really hard to sustain for the length of time. I'm not saying Georgia's going to start being bad, but at this level, that's hard to see. Spurge, good morning. Medusa, good morning. Brian Flores. I don't know. And look, Flores had a winning record in Miami. With everything surrounding Flores, does that become more difficult to hire a guy who's suing a team and suing the league? Probably. So I'd probably say no. No Saint for the first time in my life. I'm indifferent about the Saints. Trading Chauncey, Dennis Allen at head coach helped put me there. I'll re-engage when DA is fired. Shake your booty. Justin Vincent, Jay Benoit, good morning. LSU Daily Podcast, one of the best ones yet. Keep up the great work. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, y'all go, if you're interested, your favorite podcast app, just search LSU Daily. I record it after AFR, and then I drop it. Scheduled to publish at 6 a.m. So if you want a morning LSU podcast, LSU Daily, you can get there. Cody Kibido, morning Matt, saw a graphic that listed 1,000 players that entered the portal. Seems crazy. Also, you think Boutte staying might be an indication others? Yeah, okay, y'all are asking that. I don't know. All right. What about Kellen Moore as a head coach? Sure. I mean, I get it. The young OC is sort of the thought there. I mean, let's get Dennis Allen fired first, and then we can talk about that. But all right, y'all, it's after 8 o'clock. Drew's already up, so I can went a little longer here. But my apologies for those of you that I missed. We appreciate y'all as always. Jeff McKithen, Rhoda Ewell, Paul Losi, what's up? Sam Dixon, Roy Dean Jones, Keith Dardis, what's up? Trey Fisher, good morning. Bubba Smith, Nolan Daigle, appreciate y'all. Kyle DeVille, how's T-Bob and the family? Yeah, they're good, man. So Quad Bob, baby Bobby Joseph Abraham IV was born on Friday, and everybody's good. Caitlin's good. Baby Bobby is good. So all good. I don't know what they're going to call him yet. So they all have nicknames. So I don't know what they're going to go with. If they'll just call him Bobby. Everyone around work's calling him Quad Bob, like Bobby the Fourth, Quad Bob. Anyway. Okay, I got to go, y'all. I got to get Drew to school and get on with the day. Appreciate y'all as always for being here. YouTube, please smash that like button. Facebook, please like the page, share the post if you've not done so yet. Thanks for being here as always. LSU Daily is already posted. AFR at 3, and we'll see y'all then. Peace.